Welcome to this Football Manager 2020 experiment, a follow-up to yesterday's experiment where I created Team Perfect and Team Terrible, replacing Man City and Liverpool with two very, very different teams. In Team Terrible, all the players have 1 on every single attribute, including the captain, Alan Atrocious, Timothy Terrible, and God-Awful Graham. And then on the other hand, Team Perfect is full of players with 20 on every single attribute, including the captain, Mr. Perfect, Wonderful Winston, and Gary Glorious. Now, in the first video, these two teams faced off against each other. Go and check that out if you want to see an absolute bloodbath. We did it twice. We played that match twice, and this video is following on from the first game that we played, so the first sort of parallel universe that we created. And what I'm going to do is we're going to simulate an entire Premier League season with Team Perfect and Team Terrible a part of it. So they've obviously replaced Man City and Liverpool. In terms of where they finish, it's pretty predictable that Team Perfect will finish top and Team Terrible will finish bottom. I can't see any other result there. But how many goals can Team Perfect score in a season? How many goals will Team Terrible concede? What will their goal difference be? Can they score a goal? Because I'm actually going to remove every single Man City player from the first team, or Team Perfect player from the first team, other than the players I've created. So all these players are going to be released, and likewise with Team Terrible. So they're going to be relying on these players. Also, I have made myself manager of both teams, so when I go on holiday, what I will do is I will select these two options. So my assistant manager has to pick the current tactics that I've selected and also the current players when possible. So there might be some youth players coming in from time to time due to injuries and suspensions, but on the whole, these two teams will play these tactics with these players. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're 5 games into the new season. Team Perfect has already scored 46 goals this season in 5 games. Obviously, they've won every single game. And Team Terrible has conceded 145 goals after 5 games. That is sensational. Let's just have a quick look at Team Perfect to start with. This is the squad. As you can see, Mr. Perfect already got 28 goals. I suspect they'll do well in the Champions League as well. They've actually conceded 1 goal against Burnley. Chris Wood scored against them, but look at all these scorelines. It's amazing. Of course, the Community Shield, they won 61-0, which has already boosted a lot of the players' goal tallies for the season. But a 5-0 win, 5-0, 12-0, 12-0, 12-1. Amazing. On the other hand, Team Terrible, a 35-0 loss against Norwich at the start of the season with 2 red cards. They lost the Super Cup final 44-0 against Chelsea. 22-0, 30-0, 28-0 and 30-0. Oh my. And they're picking up so many red cards as well. It's amazing. Look at the average ratings of the players. We're now halfway through the season and Team Perfect, after 20 games, have won every single game, have a plus 202 goal difference. They're dominating the statistics. But look at Team Terrible. A minus 624 goal difference. That is obscene. No goals scored. They've lost games by at least 15-0 every single match, I think. Team Perfect, on the other hand, look at all the goals they've scored. They've not scored more than 12 in a game other than against Team Terrible, who they thrashed 77-0. Look at this. 77. That's an improvement on the Community Shield match, which was 61-0. Every single outfield player scored a goal. Mr. Perfect scored 19 goals. Super Sam got 16 and 14 assists. The average ratings, nearly everyone got a 10.0. Team Terrible with dreadful average ratings. Surprisingly, no one got below a 2.0. The worst was Diabolical Dave with a 2.1. That is incredible. They won all their Champions League games comfortably. They beat Real Madrid 5-2 and 5-0. They're into the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. They should win every single competition this season. Strangely, there's been some games where they've not been that great. Only a 1-0 win against Southampton. He must have put out a really defensive-looking lineup, surely. Yeah, fairly sort of solid at the back, I suppose, with that formation. But they really have been ripping it up. 89 goals already this season for Mr. Perfect and 35 assists. 54 for Super Sam. The only player not really playing is Steve Sublime, who's actually been capped by England. We'll have a look at the England team at the end of the season, but they should have every single player in that squad, really. Team Terrible, on the other hand, look at this. Look at all those defeats. 45-0 against Porto. They've been picking up loads of red cards as well. The only competition where they did okay and didn't get thrashed was the World Club Championship, because they didn't register the correct players. And I've noticed there's Trent Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez. I thought I released them, but maybe not. I'll have to release them again. Obviously, the young players are still here. But they still lost both games despite that. 39-0 defeat against Man United. I think they really have been destroyed, haven't they? In every single competition. So here we go then, the end of the season, and Team Perfect won every single game, conceding only 5 goals and scoring 333 goals in the process. Unbelievable. Although it's not really that surprising, is it? And Team Terrible have lost every single game. However, they scored twice. It's a miracle. They have scored 2 goals, once against Aston Villa, once against Newcastle, and minus 1,129 goal difference. This is just ridiculous. 131 goals conceded against Team Perfect, 95 against Leicester. Look at that. And the really strange thing is, because of them getting thrashed by everyone, Burnley, who went down with 27 points, end up with a positive 23 goal difference. Look at all the goals scored this season. You know, Team Perfect scored treble the next best team almost. But the other teams, everyone has scored close to 100 goals this season. The only team that really flopped was Crystal Palace. They ended up with a minus 10 somehow, probably because they were thrashed by Team Perfect and didn't beat Team Terrible by enough goals compared to other teams. Look at the player stats. I was hoping Mr. Perfect would get to 100 goals, but he didn't quite get there. 85 goals, 62 for Super Sam, 48 for Herbert Excellent. I mean, Harry Kane, any other year, 42 goals. Unbelievable. Jamie Vardy. But most of these goals we scored against Team Terrible, of course. Pass completion rate dominating that as well. I mean, just dominating everything, as you can see there. If we look at the squad, overall goals this season, 145 for Mr. Perfect in all competitions in 64 games. Super Sam close to 100 as well. The only outfield player not to score was Steve Sublime, who didn't really play, but he's been capped by England and scored 6 goals. So that's a bit strange. We'll just have a quick look at the England team. Look at the players. It's amazing. So, obviously, Mr. Perfect has only played twice. So, Steve Sublime, who's not playing, is actually being capped, which doesn't really make any sense. But there we go. I suppose it's up to Gareth Southgate who he plays. Oh, I just want to look at the results, actually. I presume they've been mutilating teams. 4-0 win against Portugal, 6-0 win against Switzerland, 8-0 win against Costa Rica. They won in the Euro Championship qualifiers as well. All the scorers are the players that you'd expect. I mean, if we continue, they would easily win the European Championships by a canter. World Cup as well. Let's have a look at the other competitions then. So Champions League, I assume they've won everything. Let's have a quick look. Carabao Cup final, 6-0 win against Brentford, who made it to the final. FA Cup, they were flying. Champions League, they were flying, beating Valencia, beating Ajax, beating PSG. That's a cracking game, isn't it? And then a 5-0 win against Man United in the FA Cup final. Let's have a quick look at that one. 2 goals for Mr. Perfect. Domination. Poor average ratings for Man United. I mean, it's just impossible for them to do anything against this team. I've not even fine-tuned the tactic. It's basically a tiki-taka attacking... What's it called? Tiki-taka direct? Can't remember what it's called. Fluid. Vertical. Something along those lines. If we actually had like the most powerful tactic possible on FM20, whatever that may be, just imagine the scorelines every single game. And in the Champions League final, they beat Bayern Munich 2-0. Super Sam missed a penalty and ended up with a 6.0. That's really odd to see, isn't it? Considering all the average ratings we have been seeing. But yeah, not Man City. Team Perfect won absolutely every single competition this season, winning every single game along the way. Look at that. Wow. What was their average ratings like in the end? The highest average rating, 8.84. I'm surprised it's not higher, to be honest. And Team Terrible then. Poor old Team Terrible, relegated. This is the squad. So the players that scored, I suppose they're probably young players coming in when players were suspended and that sort of thing. But look at those average ratings. And look at the score lines. They've lost every game, even the World Club Championship. You know, they lost in penalties and then lost the third place playoff. The games they managed to score in against Newcastle, so Liam Coyle, a young player coming in probably because of suspensions, and also against Aston Villa, Allen, he must be in the youth team as well or something. So yeah, the other games where they weren't playing these players, as you can see, I mean the odds young player featured, but it wasn't enough. I mean if they're playing with all these other players like Charlie Craplin, then they've just got absolutely no chance, have they? So they lost 54-0 on the other game against Team Perfect. 547 of the 1,293 assists conceded in the last 50 matches have come through balls. You could look at this forever, the sort of stuff that we have. It's just amazing. Look at the team stats this season. Poor old Alan, atrocious. Look at these. He's got a high pass completion rate. That's probably from kickoff, isn't it? Look at the team comparison against the rest of the league. Let's just have a quick look at some of the stats. So obviously Mr. Perfect, excellent up there for play of the matches. Red cards. Look at this. 6 red cards for Anthony Awful. And then 5 for Bad Boris. And 4 each for these 3. This is carnage for them. Distance covered. Sylvester Supreme ran the most. Average rating dominated by Team Perfect. Headers 1. There's the goals, of course. Average minutes per goal. Benjamin Brilliant at the top. Shots. Mr. Perfect with 380 shots in this season. And 170 of them on target. Not a particularly high conversion rate though. Benjamin Brilliant, the only player on there. Key passes, Oliver Outstanding at the top. Chances created, 5 different Team Perfect players at the top. Pass completion rate, once again dominated by these players. I think the finances of Team Perfect have been affected because they're all earning 300 grand a week. But then we've of course got rid of the real life stars. So I don't think the finances have been completely destroyed by the looks of it, but I think over time it would probably affect the team. And then obviously, look at the team comparison here. It's just so funny to see. These are the stats for the club. 3,306 shots this season with 1,428 of them on target. I don't know if this is correct because it's only showing 27 goals from 3,306 shot attempts. So what's that all about? I don't know. Look at all this. Model citizen. They're all model citizens. And then the Premier League awards, of course, dominated by Team Perfect. Oliver Outstanding won Footballer of the Year in the end. Player of the Year, Oliver Outstanding as well. Young player, Oliver Outstanding. Team of the Year. A couple of non-Team Perfect players sneaked in there. Harry Kane and Paul Pogba. Players, young player, Oliver Outstanding. Top goal scorer, Mr. Perfect, Super Sam, and then Herbert Excellent. Goal of the season. I was thinking it would be a Team Perfect play against a Team Terrible team. A team match, whatever. But that's not happened, interestingly. So I think we'll end it there. Thank you for watching this experiment. Absolute carnage. No real huge surprises, let's be honest. But I just think it's incredible. Those numbers. 300 plus 20, plus 328 goal difference. A minus 1,129 goal difference for Team Terrible. With 0 points. Amazing. Well, there we go. That answers your question. How many points, how many goals would a perfect team score, accumulate in the Premier League, and likewise for Team Terrible. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. But until next time, enjoy FM20, enjoy the rest of your day. See you very soon.